it's something that you play with no sound because you're just like, ah, ah! And then there was some sounds that she made that weren't even human. And she has like a weird laugh, and her laugh is always different each time. But some of the sounds that she made were incredible. I was like, is that a human being? Like, what's going on?
I was like turning into a sea creature by the amount of times I was being slapped on top of the water. I was like, I don't even know some of the sounds that came out of my mouth. I've never heard them before either. Not just from my own mouth, but just in, human nature. So it was very funny. Flyboarding. Recommend. Don't underestimate it.
All right, I am so excited for this episode. I honestly think it's going to be our most shareable yet.
Okay, let's get into it. So Kenny sent me this video the other day by Jesse Itzler. For those of you who don't know who he is, we'll get to that. But the video is basically some easy tips on how to live an epic life.
Yeah, so before we play the video for the audience, let's give a little backstory on Jesse and why this guy is even worth listening to. So Jesse is a super interesting guy. I've been following him for years, and he's also linked to one of Connor and I's favorite internet characters, Sir David Goggins.
Release your inner... Yeah, if you guys listen to the episode with David Goggins, you know what we're talking about. But here's the rundown on Jesse. So Jesse Itzler, he's an American entrepreneur, author, rapper, and husband to Spanx founder Sarah Blakely. Lucky him. Am I right?
Right.
He's the co-founder of Marquis Jet, one of the largest private jet card companies in the world, a partner in Zico Coconut Water. Love that stuff. The founder of the 100 Mile Group and one of the owners of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. Pretty cool guy.
Itzler is seriously talented. So during our research, we learned that he's, on top of all that stuff that Connor just said, he's also a New York Times best-selling author of not one, but two books, Living with a SEAL, 31 Days Training with the Toughest Man on the Planet, our boy, David Goggins. And then his second book is Life is Hard, Then You Die, which is a sick title for a book, 101 Lessons to Living Your Best Life. So this guy is about you becoming a better version of you.
Living with a SEAL is a great book title, by the way. Even if it meant the other kind, I'd read it too. It's a great hook for a book.
Yeah, there's a little seal. He wakes up in the morning, kind of flaps his thing at you.
Yeah, he's like a pet. Itzler, for real, he's no doubt a character. He's a self-described experimenter and is always looking for ways to challenge himself and grow. So he's lived with a Navy SEAL for a month, ran 100 miles in 24 hours. Honestly, can't even wrap my head around that. And slept in a hyperbaric chamber, which is also a dream of mine.
Really? That's a dream of yours?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the benefits that it has for you?
So I hardcore went down this rabbit hole. When I had my heart thing going on in the beginning of the year, I looked into purchasing a hyperbaric chamber for my house.
How much was that?
It's a stupid amount. I'm not going to even say live. It was silly that I even considered it. I want to say the one that I looked at was like $35,000.
I could buy 2 of the cars I have now. Wait, just real quick, just for the listeners, if they don't know, hyperbaric chamber. It's like a sealed environment and it has pure oxygen. So it's just like pumping pure oxygen into you the whole time. Basically, it allows your body to absorb more oxygen, and here are the benefits. So it improves cognitive function. This is what people say. It's like makes you super efficient and aware, and you're all about it. Reduces the risk of stroke and other heart problems, things like that.
Yep.
Treatment of infections. So if you're, somebody who is immune deficient, it's really good for that. And I'm not going to say that one. That one's weird. We'll move on past that one. But basically, they're really cool. So if you have an extra $35,000 laying around, that would be a great way to spend it. But that's not the coolest thing about him. Sarah Blakely is the coolest thing about him. Am I right?
Yeah. He got married to, of course, Sarah Blakely, one of the most badass women in business. And if you don't know who Sarah Blakely is and you live under a rock, she is the CEO of Spanx. They have 4 children together. And there is nothing. I mean, this guy's made a bunch of smart moves, right? Tons of smart moves. But maybe the smartest move that he's made so far was locking in Sarah Blakely with 4 kids. No? I mean, get this. So, does he need to lock in Sarah with 4 kids? Probably not. All right.
Maybe.
But Well, maybe you say that, but during our research, thanks to Molly, our new producer, she sent me some notes that Itzler has an estimated net worth of $220 million independent of Sarah Blakely. So this is no simp dad. This guy had his own money.
She locked him up before kids, what you're saying.
You know what? It would have been super interesting during their dating for them to sit down and be like, okay, this is serious. We're taking the next step. And then you do this moment, right? Like when you're going to do the thing with the person where you're like, let's open our checkbooks. I want to see what you got. I want to see what you got. And I wonder who was shocked at whose, because this guy had like 4 incredible business ventures and Sarah Blakely just has had Spanx. And she just recently kind of cashed. Well, just Spanx, yeah, but she was a billionaire, but a billionaire probably on paper because she owned the entire company herself, and she just sold it to private equity to probably take some chips off the table. So who knows what her liquid net worth was? I would assume if I was a betting man, I would actually put my money on Itzler. I think he probably had more money when they got married, but Sarah Blakely is probably worth more overall today.
You know how we talk about like, what should you do? Should you have separate bank accounts? Should you merge your bank accounts? That bank account, oh my God. You could shop at Whole Foods every day. You wouldn't have to like skimp on Publix. No. That is my dream. To be able to confidently grocery shop at Whole Foods, that means you've made it.
Oh, totally. If you go to Whole Foods and you don't even look at a price, you made it.
Wait, you want me to blow your mind right now?
Go for it.
Sarah Blakely's net worth as of 2023 is estimated to be around, I'm so sorry, just take a guess. I really was going to say it, but try again.
All right, I'm going to go 1.7 billion.
1.3 billion. I thought you were going to lowball me.
No. I've been following her. I've listened to her on a bunch of podcasts, and I think she had a master class, which I may have listened to for like a little bit. So yeah, 1.3 billion. I could buy it.
It's so crazy. Yeah, she sold, sold a majority stake to Blackstone for 1.2 billion. That's the craziest thing. What a cool woman. Anyways, so yeah, this guy's clearly a badass. He's married to this woman. But overall, I want you to hear his little spiel that he gives. So we're going to play this clip. The first part is cool. We're going to zero in on Kevin's rule, and we'll see you on the other side.
You do these 3 things, your life will be way better. So the first thing that I do is there's an old Japanese ritual called the misogi. And the notion around a misogi is you do one year-defining thing every year. Something that like you can look back on. You probably don't even know what you do 8 days ago, but you sure as hell should be able to say, in 2022, I launched a podcast. I quit smoking. There should be one big thing that's gonna really define my year. The second thing that I do is something that I call Kevin's rule. Kevin is a friend of mine, blue collar guy, the happiest guy that I know. Kevin and I take our 8-year-old kids to climb Mount Washington in the winter. How often do you do stuff like this? And he lights up. He goes, oh, ever since I graduated college, every other month, do something I normally wouldn't have done. I said, that's unbelievable. He said, yeah. I said, well, why do you do it? He said, because if you create 6 mini adventures every year, and you're 40 years old, and you live to be 80, that's 240 things that you wouldn't have had in your life, events or mini adventures that you just create. Third thing is I add a winning habit every quarter, 10-minute a day meditation practice. Maybe I'm never gonna be late to a meeting. But if you add 4 new habits at the end of 2023, 6 mini adventures and a killer experience, and you repeat that for the rest of your life, you won life if you do that.
You won life if you do that.
So cool.
I like that. Okay, so here's the episode. Kenny and I would love to convince you to live a more epic life. Just get out there and do stuff. So here's the deal. We want you to adopt Kevin's rule for this year. I know it's August, starting now, but getting started is the hardest part. So Kenny and I, along with our new producer, Molly, who just joined the show, are going to give you 6 mini adventure ideas.
All right. So I am a big proponent of doing things with people that you love. So I just turned 35 this year, and I realized that so much of my relationship and patterns that I grew up with are starting to fade away, right? Like I don't see the same people that I did. I don't keep in touch with my friends from college as much as I should. So some of that stuff is starting to fade away, and it was sad. And I was flipping through like some old pictures on Facebook of all places. I know, such a boomer. And I saw a bunch of pictures from my family on vacation in Myrtle Beach when I was a teenager. And I was thinking, when was the last time that I did something cool with my parents? So here is my Kevin's Rule mini adventure. Do yourself a favor. Call up your mom or your dad, whoever that you like more, pick a favorite, and then tell them to pick a long weekend. You're going to steal them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then give them 3 options of places to go and tell them to pick one. You are taking them away for the weekend, kidnapping, Borat style. You're going to put the bag over them, throw them over the shoulder, and boom.
Your mom's like,
off you go. Yeah, right. And then, so once you get the dates and once you get the locations, plan the entire thing, right? And when you're on the trip, just focus on being present on the trip. So do yourself a favor, put your cell phone away and just be in the moment. The location and the activities don't matter as much. Just the fact that you thought of your mom or your dad and you did something special for them, that's going to go so long. I just did this with my mom and I think I'm now her favorite child.
No doubt. I've met her. She loves you very much. Too much, like every mom should. Okay, this makes me think of that thing that you were telling me about how, life is only so long and you only get to see people X amount of times left before you. Come on, give me the
Oh. So this
makes
is
me sad, but it's fantastic and gives you a good reality check.
Yeah. So the backstory is me and Connor were going to Texas and she wanted to see her grandmother and we had a limited amount of time and she's like on the fence. And I was like, see your grandmother. And because time is so funny, especially for adults. And this is actually like a this is a Jesse Itzler thing where he's like, if you're 40 or 50 years old and your parents are in, call it their 70s, and you see them once a year, for Christmas or for like a holiday, you legitimately may only see your parents 10 more times in your life.
Oh, pause for tears. That is the saddest shit I've ever heard.
I mean, think about it. Think about when you are an adult and you do that thing once a year with those people. Life is not fine. Life is finite. So you may only see your grandparents. Think about you may see your grandparents 5 to 10 more days.
Stop.
Of your whole life.
I can't.
I can't even do it.
We don't have to go there.
We don't have to go there. So anyway, I told Connor that and she's like, I'll make time to see my grandma.
I straight up started crying on the spot. It's not that hard to make me cry, but tell me anything about my grandma and grandpa. I'm done. But that is very true. And same thing with friends. Like, you're like, oh, we have our whole lives to hang out. You don't know that. So just, my version of call your mom and dad would be like, take a girls trip. Because when you do that, you will never forget that. It's kind of like teleporting yourself back in time to when you guys first became friends. I'm thinking of my college girlfriends and, it's the kind of thing you'll never take for granted. You'll never regret going. Okay. Something really cool I just crossed off my list. So it was kind of epic. When I was in Curacao, I went flyboarding. Pause for confusion. I didn't know what this was. I had never even heard of the phrase. I've obviously seen it before. So flyboarding is the Iron Man thing that you see people jetpacking up from their feet and they're trying to launch their bodies into the air and just like float around. You guys, it was so embarrassing. First of all, I love the ocean. Love it. So just, being in like crystal clear Curaçaoan waters, too cool. But flyboarding is not something you get to do every day. It was really hard to stand up. I crashed into the sea more than I'd like to publicly admit. I was literally launching myself horizontally, like parallel to the surface of the ocean. It was insane.
It was rough out there too.
Oh my God. Kenny has so many wipeout videos of me that is just perfect for revenge moments. But it was really, really fun. And that's a perfect example of something that when's the next time I'm going to go flyboarding? Probably a while because I'm a little traumatized, but it's really, really good to do something that kind of freaks you out. The butterfly feeling in your stomach, if you feel that, I think you're doing something right.
Totally. Kevin would be super proud. I was present for the whole flyboarding thing from soup to nuts. And I will say our girl Connor was a champion. I have no less than 90 wipeout videos of Connor just spilling into the ocean on my phone. And every time she screamed all kind of profanity. So we can't, it's like really not for social or for children.
Mute it. Yeah. Just put music over it.
It's something that you play with no sound because you're just like, ah! And then there was some sounds that she made that weren't even human. And she has like a weird laugh, and her laugh is always different each time. But some of the sounds that she made were incredible. I was like, is that a human being? Like, what's going on?
I was like turning into a sea creature by the amount of times I was being slapped on top of the water. I was like, I don't even know some of the sounds that came out of my mouth. I've never heard them before either. Not just from my own mouth, but just in, human nature. So it was very funny. Flyboarding, recommend, don't underestimate it.
Totally. Okay. So third Kevin Rules trip. If you're looking for a little adventure that is truly unique, I want you to check out a place. Look it up first, but this place is frozen in time. Now you're going to have to go to Michigan for this one. So I never thought I would recommend a vacation in Michigan. Yeah. Because when I think Michigan, I think Detroit, but nonetheless, here we are, right? So Mackinac Island is a car-free island that still operates with horse-drawn carriage. So the Amazon truck, that's a horse. I would love to go to a place where your Amazon delivery Prime, I don't know if Prime is 2 days on Mackinac, but I mean, the whole thing has 0 cars, and the water around the island is so blue that if you close your eyes and you forget that you're in Michigan, you'd actually think that you could be in the Caribbean, which is kind of cool. And when you open your eyes and you scroll around town, you're going to be transported into like the colonial 1800s. So Mackinac is super memorable. It's like the perfect trip for a long weekend, a mini adventure. It's unique, and it's definitely, you should consider if you want to do Kevin a solid and take an epic trip. And rumor is they have some of the world's best fudge, which again, shout out to Molly, the producer. She confirmed in a text message that the fudge is really the best. So,
I love fudge. What's better than fudge?
It's so good.
Oh my God. And then it gets stuck in your teeth. That's the best. Mine isn't as specific as that. That makes me want to go on that trip immediately. But basically, take a class in something you've always wanted to learn is one of my mini adventures. That is so vague, but it's because we're all so different. So for me, something I'm going to start doing probably 3 times a year is improv class. I love it. Every single time I do it, I feel more like myself. I feel a little bit looser. I'm not taking everything so seriously all the time. Things that like kind of embarrass you a little bit are really good for you. I know that sounds weird, but in the improv class, your heart is beating out of your chest. You're like, I'm about to make an ass of myself. And so do all the other 10 people in there too. And then you leave like bonded with a bunch of strangers. Come on. But that's how I feel about any new class. So you've never taken a cooking class? I suck at cooking. I would love to do that. That would be fantastic. Or ceramics. We did that recently. That was really fun. And I found out I was good at it. I had no idea I was, you might have hidden talents that you've never even discovered. So I would say take a class in something you've always wanted to learn, because that's the kind of thing you always sweep under the rug and just say, I'll do it one day. Do it today.
Yeah. If you don't have time today, maybe in 2 days.
Yeah, do it Wednesday.
Wednesday is perfect. Okay, so my last trip for Kevin's Rule, we said that we were going to give you 6. This is my 3rd one. Here is my mini adventure. You're going to take a Friday off of work. You're going to rope someone in, whether it's a partner or a friend. Pick a random city, go to that city, make sure it's driving distance. It's cooler if you have to fly. Now, once you're there, hopefully with someone that you love, the key is do something that you hate. Right. So Connor wants you to pick a class and do something that you love. I think that you should pick someone that you love and do something that you guys would never do. And that you're like, we're going to hate this. Now, why do I ask you to do this? Because there's power in new experiences, and the easy stuff in life is the stuff that you all agree on. Right. But that's not really the spirit of Kevin's Rule. And chances are you like a fixed amount of stuff. And Kevin wants you to do 240 of these. If you start at 40 and you end at 80, you're going to do 240 mini adventures. So if you want to, you're going to run out of classes that you like, right? You need to pick something that you do not like. Kevin wants you to break the mold. So do something that pushes your boundaries. So if you have 2 left feet like me, maybe get drunk on tequila and take a salsa class, right? Doing uncomfortable things with people that you love is a surefire way to make life more epic, because the worst thing that happens, if you guys totally like just despise it, you hate it, you have a laugh about it, but you did it together, and you're always going to be like, you know, that thing that we did. So I actually did this in Ireland. I booked an Airbnb experience, and it was a walking singing tour. Now, my wife, oh yeah, I see everyone laughing. Okay. It was insane.
Like
totally
caroling?
Insane.
Like, what are you seeing?
Connor. It was batshit crazy. Okay. We walked around Dublin with this guy. He's actually a fantastic, like, no bullshit, the guy was a good singer. All right. We walked around, and he told us the history of Dublin. And every like 6 to 10 minutes, he would just stop and break out in song. Okay. There was no banjo. There was no guitar. There was nothing. It was just him a cappella in the streets of Dublin. Everyone's looking at you because they're like, what is this? My wife hates this. Right. Everyone's staring at us. I am just sitting, and I'm like, this is the best thing that I've ever seen. It was so weird, and it was so odd. And I honestly, it's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And I've tried to get my wife to go and do it, but she will not do it. So if you or Molly would like to go on a singing walking tour while in Europe, let's book that shit.
Oh my gosh. Molly and I, after a bottle of red wine, could so pull that off. Pre-bottle, unsure. Wait, what is he singing? Like, what are we, is everyone singing, or is it just him and you all kind of just stop and enjoy it for a second?
No. So the weirdest thing is, I thought it was going to be like folk music, cause it's like kind of a historical tour. But the first song that he sang was,
we both really believed him. I was like, no, he whopped. Just a cappella whop.
He just a cappella whopped it. Yeah. It was, no, I'm totally playing. It was all like historical Irish folk music. So I don't know how we're going to get that out into the world, but
wait, can you imagine just an acoustic version of WAP? There's some whores in this house.
Yeah,
that's hysterical.
It would be. It was. So yeah, in my mind, the look on everyone's face was as if he was singing that, but my face was just like, I love it that I'm here.
We need to start doing that around Orlando. And, you know, just take them downtown.
Do you want to give
Orlando.
a walking tour?
It would only take like 20 minutes. We'll just like, there's not a lot to see, but we're singing like tons of Journey songs. I love this.
No, I mean, if you want to make a whole series and remix, me and Connor have been singing this song. It's a creepy song from an HBO miniseries. Connor, what's the name of the series?
Idol. The Idol.
Yes. The Idol. And
Lily
then there's
Rose
this
Depp.
song. Yes. And there's this song, Connor, if you could sing it, no one wants to hear me sing. They'll just hit like
That's
unsubscribe.
my family. We don't like each other very much, but I'm okay with that. We're like obsessed with this stupid song. We're in the terminal at the airport trying to sing it like Cher, but and then like people are just so embarrassed to be in our presence. I can do a pretty good Cher impression though, can't I? Give me that.
Your Cher is so good. So good.
I've been practicing forever, since birth, really. Okay, you ready for my sixth adventure?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Mine's, this is not like a pro tip or anything, but adrenaline junkie stuff. If you're one of those people that thinks that's not your thing, it might just be because skydiving is a little too big. What if like dune buggying in the desert is more your speed? You know, I just feel like people either say they like that stuff or they don't like that stuff. And why does it have to be like that? Go to the Daintree rainforest in Australia, take a little dip in some, you know, ancient rainforest water. That counts. Just something cool and adrenaline junkie-esque. And that can also be like going to a concert. I saw Moulin Rouge in Manhattan recently, and it moved me to actual tears. People kind of hate that Broadway show, so it's funny that I'm plugging it right now. But I cried. I started crying. You know that Katy Perry song, Do You Ever Feel Like a Plastic Bag? I started sobbing. For some reason, those lyrics hit me only then. But I will say, the coolest thing I've ever done was I went to Australia recently for New Year's. That is something that is a big adventure, not a mini adventure, but I'm going to do it every year for New Year's as often as I possibly can. And saying that, like picking one thing out of that year that made you really super happy and feel like alive as hell, copy that thing. Take that thing and do the exact same thing next year. Like everyone's so particular on what lights them up, you know? So that was mine. I went over there and I went skydiving with somebody I did not even know. Like, hey, you want to go skydiving? Sure. Be a yes man. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. That's my sixth adventure. Next time someone asks you if you want to do something and it seems like classically, traditionally fun, but it might not be your thing, say yes. See what you think.
I love it. I have one question, then we should wrap up the show because we have to run.
Let's wrap it up.
For the Misogi, I have my Misogi for last year and I have my Misogi for this year. I want to ask you yours. So my Misogi for last year, the one big thing that I look back and I'm like, that was cool, is raising our first round of outside venture capital. So we raised 2.47 million. And that was something that I didn't even know was possible, raising millions of dollars, like having people wire you money to invest in your business. It was surreal.
What?
And when it happened, it was insane. I didn't go to school for that. It just kind of like happened. And shout out to My First Million because they were kind of what started it. That was pretty cool. And then my one for this year, I will write it in the chat, but don't look at the chat. And my 2023 Misogi is, and
Wait,
don't look at the chat.
What?
Don't look at the chat.
I'm looking away. I'm looking away.
All right. Just keep the chat closed. That's all. All right. What is yours? I'll let you do either 2022 or this year's Misogi. What's yours? Like the one big thing that you did that you set out to do that would like define your year, or maybe you don't know, and that's fine too.
The movie, doing a movie that I got to be in 85% of it was really cool. That was a Misogi. I've never been given that much like authority in a role before to be able to kind of make it match my personality instead of try to be someone else. I tried to make her me, and that was really cool. So that's probably one of the cooler things I've done in the past couple of years is just being in a movie that was kind of like written and adjusted. Like we go through rounds and drafts and stuff of dialogue change and blah, blah, blah. And like having them adjust the character to fit Connor Ann instead of Connor Ann trying really hard to be Laura was really cool.
That is cool. That's
a good Laura.
You do? No, but Molly says
Come
that
on.
too. Okay. It's the blonde hair for me.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then my Misogi for this year, I never thought that I would ever work in sales. I never thought I'd work for a tech company. And I became a little baby sales girl this year. So my Misogi thus far, starting in February, was instead of seeing myself as somebody who's always going to have to work a job I hate in order to pursue what I love, I work a job I love and all the other things I love are just a bonus. So that's really cool. Being able to like come into the businesswoman version of myself as this year's Misogi so far.
That's cool. All right. I like it.
That was a little sappy, but it's true.
A little sappy, yeah. But open up the chat, see what mine is.
Oh, that's sweet. So sweet. The pod, he says. How did I miss the pod?
No. You know, I see where your loyalties lie. They lie with the sales team, which I can appreciate on some level.
You should be.
But I think that like launching the podcast, I never thought that I would ever talk on air. Not that we do this for a living. It's really at this point like a passion project, but I grew up stuttering. So the fact that I didn't even talk from like second grade to seventh grade. And so to grow up with a bad stutter and then to talk on a microphone twice a week and have people tune in, at this point, it may just be our grandparents, but even if it is just our grandparents.
Hey, Grandma Connie, what's up, girl?
Nanny, I know you're listening, so big shout out.
We love
and
you
Nanny
guys.
listens more than my mom too, because I'm so toxic. I'll quiz my mom and I'm like, what did you think of the last pod? And I was like, Nanny loved it, right? Because there's a little competition there.
Yeah, she gets jealous that Nanny listened. I love that.
Yep. You got to up your shit,
Yeah, use them against
gotta
each
get
other.
Yeah. So no, it was just really cool. I was thinking back and I'm like, the podcast is my misogi for this year.
It's pretty cool just to be able to, I like the endurance of it is crazy. You know, anyone can start a podcast, but just continuously putting in the work is a whole ass thing. So number one, thanks for listening if you're here. And number two, we're doing a live podcast this month. Like we've come a long way in a short period of time, which I'm very proud of. Kenny, look at us. Grown-ups now.
We're like real people.
Oh my God, we're like becoming real people. But anyways, those are our advice for little mini adventures. Obviously, I could list 100,000 more things you could do to just spice up your life a little bit. Maybe we'll write a blog post or something. This would be good in article format. But just remember, like, do things that kind of get your heart racing sometimes. I promise it'll keep you alive longer. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening. If you have any topic ideas, just email us at hello@travelnerds.co. Follow us at travelnerdspod, and we'll see you later. Later, nerds.